Yo, what's up, folks? This Impact, and I want to take this time to welcome you all back to the Hurt Business 101. Let's get right into this video, man. Today's video, I want to discuss PBC's first card since they struck their deal with Amazon Prime that's taking place on March the 30th for pay-per-view. That's featuring a co-main event of Isaac Pitbull Cruz and Rolly Romero, with the main event being Tim Tszyu versus Keith One Time Thurman. Let's get right into the video. Listen, before I start with the content, man, I just want to let y'all know I would appreciate it if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you just don't like the video, hit the thumbs down button. Leave me a comment, let me know why you don't like the video. Also, if you like the content and you like any of my content, you appreciate my perspective, and you would like to see more, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I drop new videos. Let's go. Listen up, man. Now, before I talk about this card and what I really think about the card, I'm gonna let you guys know right now. When you look at this, and I believe it's going to be another fight with Erislandy Lara, and I'm not sure who he's fighting because I don't really look. I usually look at the main and the co-main, and I did see Erislandy Lara for a third fight, but I'm not sure who he was fighting. But man, I must say, this fight, this card here, for pay-per-view, in my estimation, really makes no sense at all. This is not a pay-per-view card. However, it is a good night of boxing. It is a good card. But this is a card, if they throw it on, for free, it's perfect to get people into it. You know what I mean? Like if you introducing everybody to your new platform on Amazon Prime, if you want to come out with a bang and do a pay-per-view, you got to do better than this. You know what I mean? Like you got to give us a big pay-per-view attraction. Now, I really like Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu is a real intense guy. I love his style. I love his mentality. And I'm going to get into all of that once I start breaking down the fights. And I'm going to still drop breakdown videos for the fight later on. But right now, I just want to discuss what I think about the card. Also, Keith Thurman, he's been very inactive. But Keith Thurman, when it comes to a build-up for fights, Keith Thurman is good. I actually like Keith Thurman. I like Keith Thurman as an analyst and him breaking down fights. He's very knowledgeable, man. He has a great boxing mind. When I listen to him, I very rarely think he's off on what he's talking about. I don't get into people's predictions because we all get predictions wrong. But when he's analyzing it, he's dead on. I really like that. And he's good for build up and everything. And if he was active and Tim Tszyu was further along, I would say this would be a pay-per-view fight. But right now, it's not. And to have Rolly Romero or Isaac Cruz, which to be honest with you, I really like that fight. I like Isaac Cruz versus Rolly. I think that's going to be explosive. Neither one of these guys is running all around. They're going to meet right there, and they're going to go at it. And I'll break down that fight as well later on. But, this, I'm going to share my thoughts on this stuff. This right here is a huge problem in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Like these promotional companies and stuff like that, man, they got to get it together. You can't just, and then they complain when numbers are low and people say boxing is dead and networks are dropping boxing left and right. PBC at one point after the HBO, they left HBO. Because Floyd decided to take his, he decided to go over and start doing business with Showtime. And, and then HBO eventually sustained for a while and got out of boxing. They moved over to Showtime. And then Showtime was in it for a while. When Floyd retired, they still held on, did some good shows and stuff like that. But eventually, the losses and stuff like that, they decided to go in a different direction. And at that time, before that, they had a deal where they were working. They had fights on Bounce TV, they had fights on Fox, and they was using Showtime. So they had kind of like three platforms. Bounce was like more the lower level guys. The biggest shows they were trying to put on Fox, and then the shows that were a level right below that, they were throwing those on Showtime. So they had a nice little three network thing going on, and they lost whatever happened with Bounce. They lost Bounce. Fox stopped doing it, and then ultimately Showtime. Um, you can't just give the fans what you want to get the fans and say we want money for it and that's it. Like this is not a pay-per-view card. Tim Tszyu is from Australia and he's still building himself. Now he has the fight style that fans could go to. He got the mentality that fans could gravitate to and be willing to pay their money for. Keith Thurman is past it, and in my estimation, Keith Thurman is being sacrificed right now, and he's always looking for he was looking. He needs to get in the ring. If he can pull it off, then it'll be great for Keith. It'll probably reinvigorate him and get him more active again. But Keith just been suffering some injuries, then a lot of nursing purses. You know what I'm saying? Like he make his purse and then he's on the sideline nursing that purse. You know what I mean? And he's not like he's in a rush to get back in the ring. Like I think he's like semi-retired where he enjoys his family time and he's not really probably willing to sacrifice it like he really wants to box because he gets the itch like any fighter. And the money starts to get a little low, but he wants to be comfortable and be at home, and he doesn't really have the constant itch for fighting and training and all that. He just wants to get to the fights. And I don't know what's going on with Keith. So right now, Keith is not worth pay-per-view. I mean, we just saw him struggle against, now I ain't gonna say struggle. He beat Mario Barrios, but he didn't look all that great, of course, because he's not fighting, so he's rusty. You know what I'm saying? And Tim Tszyu, you got to give him time to build his fan base. He doesn't have a big fan base over here. I mean, over there in Australia, he because of his name and his dad, he's able to garner a certain level of, a fanfare. But on a pay-per-view scale, he's not known by, he's not a household name. That's what you need for pay-per-views. You know what I mean? Household names, guys that people know, guys that's not really into boxing all that much. They know this guy just because he's out there and he's accessible where everybody knows like people know Tank's name, even though sometimes I'm upset about the competition. I don't really like the fact that he's not fighting the top guys right now, but he's a pay-per-view guy. You know what I'm saying? People know his name. Tank, his name rings some bells. You can sell Tank. But this for a pay-per-view, this thing is going to flop. And it's sad because it's not the fighter's fault. The fighter's going to go out there and do what they got to do. And I think it's going to be a good card. Listen, I'm going to buy it because I'm going to support the cause. It's the first card. I'm not going to be a hypocrite telling people to, try to support it. But I'm not upset at anybody that says, I'm not paying my money for this card. This is not a pay-per-view card. I'm saying I'm going to do it because, I do have a responsibility to try to watch some of these fights, and be able to give you guys my perspective on the fights and break these and do recaps and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm going to purchase it. I'm not going to miss the money. You know what I mean? These things are under $100. I'm not going to miss the money. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to continue though to just keep giving these guys my money just because. Though they're going to have to start giving me something. But I am going to support this one. This is the first one. And I don't think, from what I heard, Amazon is really not giving these guys a budget. I could be wrong, but so they're probably just throwing it on pay-per-view just to try to make the money to cover the purses so they don't have to put the money out there. So I don't know what the deal is with Prime. I know they're supposed to have some pay-per-view and some regular cards, but I believe this should have been a regular card. And if you wanted to do a pay-per-view on your first one out, you got to do better than that. You got to get Tank's ass up in there with somebody legit or something. Or, you know what I mean? Try to get that Earl Spence Crawford rematch up in there. You know what I mean? But this has seemed like that's being stalled. But man, listen, listen. That's what I believe. This is not a pay-per-view card. I'm disgusted that they're even putting it on pay-per-view. It's like they're just taking the fans' money and saying you're going to just accept what we give you and you're going to pay us for it. That's why I really don't want to support it with financial. You know what I mean? With my finances, but I'm going to do it to support the sport and stuff like that, but I'm reluctantly going to do it, man. I want y'all to tell me what y'all think about this card. If y'all think this card is worth pay-per-view or not in the comments section, man. I'm going to leave it right there for this video, man. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to another edition of the Hurt Business 101. You know what they say. It's no business like show business, but I say it's no business like the Hurt Business. 101 done.